And speaking of shit sandwiches, Rob Zombie's Halloween. I will ask, before we give our opinions, I want to ask you a simple question. Tell me if you like this. Do you like that? That's Rob Zombie's Halloween, and to an extent, Halloween 2. Well, but really loud.
Imagine that the camera is shaking.
And everyone's a redneck, and everyone's an asshole, and everyone's mean, and everyone's a jerk, and nobody has any likable qualities at all. And Rob Zombie's wife apparently was only given this role because she's tall, and I call bullshit because that is not how you explain Michael's height, and you just wanted to give your wife a part.
And also, Michael Myers is...
Still respect you, Rob, but...
Michael Myers is a killer because he was called a pussy too much.
And he had an abusive stepdad?
Ronnie?
Was he a stepdad, or was he just a boyfriend?
Just a boyfriend.
Of the mom. Not a boyfriend of Michael. That would be weird. We definitely call Chris Hansen on that.
The one thing I will say about the movie that I appreciate is it's brutal. Well, I like the brutality of it. Right. The gore. It's great. It's great. But I watched the unrated cut, sadly. I
only watched the theatrical cuts because the unrated version of 1 and 2 is longer. Fuck
No, I'm sorry.
that.
I watched the theatrical cut. I keep forgetting that theatrical cut. I keep forgetting. The unrated cut is longer than 2 hours.
Point is, I was not watching a longer version of this shit. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I'm not watching the real version. Deal with it. I won't like... If I didn't like this version, sure shit, I'm not going to like the other one.
The first third of this movie is just young Michael Myers. The entire third is young Michael Myers, which couldn't we have just started it with like him in the Institute as an adult? You have Danny Trejo. He has the interview with Loomis anyway. You could just cut all this. I will say I do like young Michael Myers. One thing that is etched in my brain since ever seeing it in 2007 was him beating to death Spy Kid.
You have talked about that for years. I believe you on that.
When he's like bleeding out of the mouth and he's crying, like literally, like I remember it. I remember thinking this is brutal, and then the movie just goes downhill.
Now going back to the stuff with the kid, with him like in the institution, I think this was in a way Rob's homage to the TV cut of Halloween. A lot of people don't know this. There's a TV cut of Halloween that they had for time. They had to actually add. Usually they take stuff out. This is one where they had to put stuff in. So they actually have stuff in there. This was done after Halloween 2, mind you. So they added stuff with Michael in the institution with Dr. Loomis. I think they even added Laurie as his sister for that as well to keep that going. So if you think you're having a Mandela effect where the first movie has Laurie Strode is established as his sister, that's why. You watch the TV cut. I do think we spend way too much time with young Michael. I think it takes way too long to get to what is essentially a shot-for-shot remake of the first movie, but with all assholes, all people just hamming it up, just poorly. Rob is not a good writer.
So I will say this: I
respect you, Rob, but you're good. You're not a writer.
I don't. In the first Halloween, I do think that Scout Taylor Compton, I do think she does a good job as Laurie Strode in the first one.
If she would just tone it down a little bit, she would have been even better.
I do remember there's one scene that I remember is like, this is actually pretty good. Is at the end when she's like in the freaking house walls and she's getting beat up through like obviously getting splinters and things jagging her and her face is all busted. It's like that was good.
Right, it's just hard to care when you go through this whole movie where, like, everyone gets, like, beaten up. There's so many loud noises that, like, you lose the sense of impact with all the hits, with all the movements and things like that.
Also, poor Annie Brackett, which we'll talk about in Halloween 2, played by Danielle Harris.
That's true. Also, one thing I want to say about 2, but it's about 1. You talked about how brutal it was and the violence. Compared to 2, I'm amazed how much restraint Rob Zombie showed in his first Halloween 1 movie compared to the next one.
It's because he had to play it a little safe.
Which, I mean,
so he can make a Halloween
to his
2.
credit, he was smart to do that.
Yeah. And Tyler Mane is a scary dude.
Right.
As Michael Myers. Though, the sheet does not work in this one because that is not Bob. That is not Bob. Bob is not 6'8".
Also, one thing about Tyler Mane that bothered me in that one, because when he breaks out, he's got the long hair. He never gets a haircut or anything.
Yeah.
What I don't understand is, why is it when Michael puts the mask on, it's almost like he loses all his long hair?
Because he's got to be stylish, Scott. Jeez.
I don't know. It's just like, it's one of those things that bothered me. Not like a nitpick. That's one of the nitpicks. But I mean, like I said, I liked the kid. I thought the kid who played Michael was believable.
Yeah.
I think he was fine. Between you and me, Wade, I think he kind of reminds me a little too much of our drummer, but that's another story for another show.
I mean, Scout Taylor Compton is good. Malcolm McDowell is great in this one. We'll talk about Halloween 2. I kind of want to hold him out for Halloween 2.
And Brad Dourif. You kind of forget, when you go back and watch the movies, you forget how much better Brad Dourif is than everybody else in these movies.
Well, I was going to talk about him on the next movie. Halloween 2, I'm just going to read my notes.
Right.
It's another Rob Zombie Halloween, so loud noises and screaming. Again, the brutality and gore is nice, but any new idea, whatever road he takes, it's always the wrong choice. All the Sherry Moon stuff is terrible. Laurie being edgy and grimy, while Annie Brackett is perfectly fine.
Meanwhile, they live in the fucking trauma house.
Yes.
How, like, if you ever watch a trauma movie, there's always, like, movie posters on the wall and spray paint and shit, and I'm like, why is this here?
But Annie Brackett was like, she was scarred up, naked, and blood with her boyfriend's blood all over her. But she's fine.
Oh, can we just for a second talk about that really, really long opening that just turns out to be a dream?
I also wrote that.
AKA the best part of the movie.
I wrote that. The hospital psych out, because they're trying to do the hospital from Halloween 2, the original, and it's a dream. So you wasted 15 minutes was a dream.
Right.
Anyway, Miss Tu Coolio for Schoolio was uttered on film.
And written by a full-grown man. Robert Zombie wrote the line, "Tu Coolio for Schoolio," because he thinks that's what teenagers say in the year of our Lord, 2010.
The nauseating climax where they're in that shack and there's the helicopter lights and she's like, let me go! And Loomis shows up and it's just a bunch of yelling and shaky cam and bright lights.
And helicopter noise.
And helicopter noise. By the way, I forgot to mention on Halloween 1, I thought it was hilarious. When 10-year-old Michael is wearing the Michael Myers mask.
Oh my god, yes!
He's walking around with that giant head.
He looked, especially with that clown outfit, he definitely looked like he belonged to the circus.
I wrote that Brad Dourif as Sheriff Brackett is the best part of the movie. He's the only character that's sympathetic. You feel bad.
He's still poorly written, but you can definitely tell Brad Dourif is trying to do the best he can with the shitty dialogue he was getting.
He had to tell a story about Starvin' Marvin.
He's you're underselling it. They're eating their dinner, and of course Laurie's vegan now and has to make it known because that's what you do when you're vegan. Nothing against vegans, I'm just saying. And then he's like, "Oh, I'm starving like Marvin. You ever wonder who Marvin was?"
Nope.
I'm like, no, Sheriff Brad Dourif. No, I've never thought about that. No, Robert Zombie, I've never thought about that. You know why? Because people in the last 25 years have not said starving like Marvin. I know you like your 70s grindhouse movies, Robert, but like, I'm sorry.
Hey,
you're not in the 1970s.
Hold on. He also talks about Groucho Marx.
Yeah, like seriously, Rob, you're not with it. You don't know what it is, and you did know what it was, and it's no longer it anymore. And you know what? It happened to you.
Also, another thing I really fucking hate was Loomis. This is okay. I think Rob Zombie. Here's my theory. Hear me, brother. Hear my theory. I think that Rob Zombie does not like Dr. Loomis. He does not like Loomis at all. You know why?
Why?
Because he's British. And you can't make a British character redneck.
That's true. You can't. You could make him Cockney. I've heard Cockney's like the redneck of.
Because notice that Malcolm McDowell, he pretty much does anything. I mean, Home Alone 5.
Milk Money. I like that movie, but come on.
He just does. He's getting a paycheck. This one just like Loomis is also the best character of the Halloween franchise. He's the best character, and you just do nothing with him, and it's kind of a waste of time. He's a pompous ass for no reason. Like, here's the idea. He had this idea of, like he has, in the first movie, he's talking about, like, they have that backdrop of, like, young Michael's eyes, and he's telling the class about him. So he's written about Michael, but ever since Michael escaped and killed people, probably less people than he's killed when he was a kid.
Right.
All of a sudden, he's now like all about being pompous and being like, I'm a superstar. It's like, but he never was that in the first movie.
Well,
at all.
And the thing is like,
it's Rob Zombie's own continuity you can't get right.
The idea of Loomis, writing the book, acquiring fame, and becoming like a pompous ass, on paper is an interesting idea. Yeah. I don't know if it's good, but it's interesting. But yeah, and then all of a sudden, like he sees like he watches the news, and all of a sudden now he's snapped out of it. Like that face turn from Dr. Loomis at the end is so unearned.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. The dream sequences and the stuff with Sherry Moon Zombie on the white horse with young Michael, who is so totally not the same kid, I think was it was just bad. It's like, when you go to those people who go to art school and they make those like shitty like art school videos where it's like you got a clown and someone cracks an egg and they think they're edgy because they put a little person in there. You know what I'm talking about? Those kinds of things where it's like they're abstract.
They're supposed to Salem?
I wouldn't know. I never watched it, but I know what you're talking about. It feels like that. It just feels like he's like, I'm artistic, guys. Look at me being artistic, and it's just like, it looks fine, but except the one where Laurie's like in the glass casket and everything's quiet. And then we jump cut to her like freaking out, and I'm like, I hate that. I always think it looks shitty.
So you don't like this movie?
Oh, I fucking hate this movie. When we watched the first movie, the first Halloween Rob Zombie movie, both me and Kayla were like, this fucking sucks. And we kept checking the time code to see how much more time we had. When we got to Halloween 2, we were just like, wow. There was so much grunting. And speaking of grunting, you got a character like Michael Myers, whose whole gimmick is he doesn't talk. He doesn't make a noise.
You don't see his face.
You don't see his face. Not only do you see this motherfucker's face probably more than you see it under the mask, he will not shut the fuck up. He's always, yeah. He's like, I know this is a nitpick, but like the scene in the hospital when he's stabbing the woman over and over again, he's stabbing her way too fast. Like, he moves way too fluidly.
Are you talking about the African American nurse?
Yes.
You know who that is, right?
That's I know her name. I know she was in it's something Shepherd.
It's Octavia Spencer.
Octavia Spencer. Who am I thinking of?
I don't know.
Oh, you know what? I think I'm thinking of someone from The View.
Sybil Shepherd.
No. God no. Octavia Spencer. She did a lot of great movies.
But you know what? Octavia Spencer is in the movie less time. You know who has more screen time than Octavia Spencer does in this movie? Weird Al.
Yeah, yeah. That was a weird little cameo.
Nothing wrong with Weird Al.
No.
He's probably the best part of the movie.
But, like, I know that sounds like a nitpick, but Michael, he just moves too fluidly. And that's not scary. Like, the way Michael Myers moves, like, that almost robotic nature to him...
Michael Myers...
is part of what's scary about him.
Michael Myers standing behind those, like, the laundry sheets when she looks outside.
Right.
That's scary.
Well, you know what the scariest thing about Michael is? His perfect posture. Have you ever noticed? He has the best posture in all of horror. He always stands straight up.
I envy him.
There's no lordotic or curve on that spine.
Yeah.
And if you know what I just said, good for you.
I guess we should get out of the muck. And we should start talking about good things.
From the ashes of the horrible Rob Zombie experiment, like a phoenix, we get the 2018 film Halloween, which is a sequel to the first movie, eliminating everything before the first movie, which means we're living in a world where Ben Tramer is still alive. And they allude to the idea that Laurie Strode had 2 ex-husbands. And I will be damned if you will make me believe otherwise that Ben Tramer was not one of those ex-husbands.
Yeah, it's the Blumhouse 2018. Jamie Lee Curtis is back.
Right.
Basically, we retconned Halloween 2.
And John Carpenter's back as a producer.
Yes, and he's also doing a score.
He does the score, which is fantastic. I mean, he never lost a step.
Nope.
And
Which
honestly,
is great because John Carpenter now doesn't make movies; he just makes music. And
for now, I still think he's got one more movie left in him.
I feel like he probably will do something, but I don't have much to say about this movie. Like, it fixes a lot of issues that was created over the past 20 to 30 years. The kills are brutal.
Not only brutal,
the dropping the teeth.
That right there. This one establishes my theory.
Don't do a podcast about a killer.
This one established my theory that Michael Myers is a dick. I'm just kidding. He's always been a dick. He's always like hiding bodies in certain spots so people will find them and what have you. I really enjoyed this one. I was hesitant because I've seen other sequels. I know how it can be, and I'm sorry.
It's also a soft reboot as well.
To an extent, yes. See, to some people, Blumhouse is a name that screams quality. To me, Blumhouse is a name that does not scream quality. In fact, quite the opposite. Like, I know...
scream quality.
They're one of those companies where you can definitely... It seems like their biggest movies are not made in-house. They're always, like, they produce them, but they don't, you know what I mean? Like, they're just attached to them. They don't actually make them.
Yeah.
But the ones that they do make, like what was it, Truth or Dare, I think they did.
Is Truth or Dare the one right?
Yeah. Did they do the Bye Bye Man?
Don't know. I'm not going to look it up. I'll look it up.
But, you got Danny McBride, Mr. Eastbound and Down himself, on it. It's such a weird planets aligned to create this. I think this movie brings Michael Myers back to what made him scary. A very minimalist perspective, a minimalist production as far as like how he moves, what he does, his kills.
It's not Blumhouse.
It seemed like it would be. His kills are very brutal, but at the same time, like they feel very on the fly, They don't feel very premeditated, which is another thing that makes Michael scary. His death IQ, his murder IQ, if you will, is very high.
There is a slight plot twist that it's not bad, it's not great. It's just there. The doctor twist.
Yeah, the only reason
there's nothing wrong with it, but it's not. I wouldn't consider it a great twist.
Well, I think the only reason why his heel turn even exists in the movie is because
you don't want to have a psychic connection between Laurie Strode and Michael Myers.
They just needed an excuse for Michael to get to the house.
Yes. And
that was the way they did it.
Or she could have just been like, "Hey, Michael, follow me," and she just drives away, and he chases her.
It's been established Michael drives cars, even in the first movie, so he could have driven. I definitely think the kills are very impactful. They're very brutal. You feel every hit, every stab. I like the fake out of the podcasters, although how like you think they're gonna be with you throughout most of the movie, and it's like, oh no, they are literally just a means to an end.
Then they get to the bathroom, and that's it. I do like Judy Greer as the daughter, and I forget the daughter's. Forgive me, the granddaughter. She's also pretty good.
Right.
They also do the thing with that kid, like the guy friend. He's like, who cares? Michael Myers was like so many years ago. He killed like 3 people. Who cares?
Yeah.
I do like how they kind of modernize it, which we get defeated in Halloween Kills. The whole idea gets defeated.
To an extent, you got to also remember the age range in which the age that the person who said that was.
Yeah.
Because they weren't there. I think it was very tense. There was a lot of very suspenseful moments, especially towards the end with the showdown between Laurie and Michael. It was very interesting seeing the roles reverse.
Yeah.
Seeing her on the hunt for Michael. And if you notice, a lot of things that happened in that fight that happened to Laurie are what happened to Michael in their first encounter.
Yeah.
Like getting knocked off the roof and then, disappearing, some of the surprise things that they did. And I also really loved just the family dynamic. I mean, you really got a sense that the family loved each other. It was just, this whole thing with Michael was just a big problem for them.
Like it was for H2O, but I think Halloween 2018 is just like, it's the H2O, Laurie Strode, but just add an extra 10, 20 years.
Right.
Of like, kind of like obsession and trauma.
I mean, if you think about it, they went T2 with it.
Yeah.
How, you go from the first Terminator movie, and Sarah Connor's just this, like, oh, I'm just a waitress, thing. And you get to Terminator 2, and she's just, like, toned and tough, and she's fucking cocking shotguns with just one hand.
And then, whatever the new Terminator was.
We don't like to talk. I don't want to talk about that.
But she's like a badass in that too.
Right.
She's more badass than she was in T2. Anyway.
Right. What I'm saying is, Laurie Strode is the T2 Sarah Connor. She had her T2 Sarah Connor moment.
The only note I have for the movie is Jack-o'-lantern. The human Jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah. Oh.
That was rough.
If I needed any more proof, it confirmed my theory, Wade. Michael Myers is a dick.
So Halloween Kills, it's pretty much the inspiration on why we're doing this whole ranking in general.
Right.
We both have different views on it. We both very enjoyed it. Some people are saying it's the worst sequel of the Halloween franchise.
I beg to differ.
If you watch this whole video so far, it's not. I have issues with it, but we watched it together. It was very highly enjoyable with friends.
Well, we watched it together first, and then we watched it individually.
Yes, and individually I did not have as much fun. I was more watching in a critical eye, and there are issues I have. I think the problem is they were... Halloween 2008 has... 2018 has set a precedent of tone and seriousness. This one is like, let's make it campy. And it was a tonal change that I don't think a lot of people that probably hate the movie don't like.
I think this movie is a victim of them revealing that there were going to be 2 Halloween sequels. I think if you would have just... I'm not saying that announcing Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends was the right... was like... It would make people's opinions better. But so many people are like, well, we know there's going to be another one, so you know... And it's like, okay, yeah, so don't announce the other one. Just announce you're doing the next one. Wait a little bit. Like... unless the only reason I could think of is they knew people were gonna. There was gonna be a lot of people that didn't like it, and they were like, "But don't worry, we're gonna fix everything because there's gonna be a third one." But I don't think that was a smart move because so many people are like, "Well, it kind of takes away some of the drama when we know there's gonna be another one." But if you didn't know there was gonna be another one, you thought Halloween Kills was gonna be it. It's not so bad. Me also, you know me, I'm the kind of person, I like to just, like, watch a movie for what it is before I start, like, throwing in, like, what this could mean or what that could mean. I accept what I'm given and go from there and then see what's going on. And for me, I got an interesting movie. I'm not going to say it was one of the scariest of the franchise, because it wasn't. I think, because, when you do a movie where the whole town is an angry mob, there's not very many people around for Michael to kill, so people from the mob had to go to Michael.
I feel like...
In the playground scene, for example.
I think what hurt the movie for me was the angry mob. If it was just Tommy Doyle, the nurse is stretching it, because...
If it just wasn't the whole town.
When she says, this is for you, this is for Loomis, like, did Michael kill Loomis?
Yeah, we don't know about that. Also,
you were just, like, hanging out with Loomis. It was, like, your job.
Because Michael never killed Dr. Loomis in any of the movies.
Yeah.
Even if let's say you're watching the timeline.
Oh, wait. No, he did. Halloween 2, Rob Zombie.
I don't count.
He stabbed him pretty hardcore.
But we don't know. I mean, this dude survived that huge explosion in the original Halloween 2. But that's what I'm saying. But, like, the closing... Like, let's say in the H2O timeline, you know, because Loomis wasn't in that one, that still doesn't... If Michael's alive, then Dr. Loomis could definitely still be alive.
Here's the thing.
And Loomis did that to himself.
And then the problem... Okay, so you've had Tommy Doyle, you have the nurse, if you want to keep her, the girl...
Right. The mom should have literally just been everybody at Mick's bar.
I'm not even saying Mick's bar. I'm saying, like, him, the other girl that was babysit, the nurse, if you want.
Well, they were there. They were at the bar, too.
Lonnie, which he tripped and fell, and Michael looked at him. I don't know if I would be bloodthirsty about that.
Well, he wasn't. That was the thing. For him, Lonnie was different. Everyone else, it was, Michael fucked my life. Let's get him. Lonnie's was more like, I told a big lie that everybody believed, and I need to make things right. For everyone else, it was revenge. For Lonnie, it was redemption.
You see, he said a lie. I mean, that's an interesting story. Maybe Lonnie was like, oh yeah, he chased me throughout the woods. He chased me throughout the neighborhood, but he didn't.
Well, no,
like, it was a lie to make himself feel important or something. It's just one thing. That sounds like an interesting direction.
Right.
And plus with the kids, the boyfriend who cheated on who was messing around with someone.
Cameron? I think his name was?
Cameron was messing around with behind the grandmother's back, like Halloween 4. An angry mob, like Halloween 4. I feel like that would
Kill an innocent victim, Halloween 4.
I feel like that would be a lot better of a movie. You can probably grow the characters a little more.
Yeah.
To where they're not caricatures.
Yeah, the mob was too big. The mob was way too big.
Like, okay, I'm sorry, but Michael Myers didn't kill that many people to have... It's not like they released Charles Manson. It's not like they released, like, these... Michael Myers was 40 years ago, and all these kills that he's done recently happened in the same night. The only person that should be in the angry mob is that kid's mom that saw him, because I guess they don't close curtains in a morgue.
Yeah, how many morgues you see where they're just, like, open to the public like that? I've never seen it until Halloween Kills.
It's just also the angry mom is chasing Trivoli. Did they think he was Michael Myers?
They did, and that's the thing I don't get is, like...
Why would Michael Myers run away from you? Why would Michael Myers...
Or in general...
Why is Michael Myers 5'5"?
And fat. No disrespect, R.I.P. to the actor who played him.
Like, it's just... Like, it's just so much stupid. I understand.
Yeah.
Mob mentality. It's rage and stupidity. It's just like...
And, like...
It's just plain old stupid. Meanwhile, nurse woman is on their own, hunting Michael without Anthony Michael Hall, which was very odd. And also Lonnie was by himself with Cameron and Girl. I forget her name, sorry. It's just like... But there's an angry mob in the hospital because they're going after Laurie, but they're not. I don't know what the logic of any of these characters were.
Well, I think the idea is everybody thinks that Michael's after them specifically, when in reality he's not.
Yeah.
He's just out for blood, period. Because Laurie thinks he's out after her because she survived. Officer Hawkins thinks Michael's after him because he survived. Tommy thinks Michael's after him because he's... Like, everyone thinks because Michael survived, or they survived Michael, that he's after them, when in reality he doesn't give a
So
fuck.
how about Joe Schmo that's just randomly... How about the mime that was in that angry mob?
Yeah, like I said, the mob was way too big, which made... the only upside to it was when they get to the scene where they chase Trivoli up the stairs, and people are, like, shoving... It makes for a good visual... But it was very unnecessary.
It was just mean.
It was very unnecessary. And then they push... The fact that they push him to the point where he there's no way out, and he decides he's going to jump out the window. Which, I'm going to say this, and this is no joke, this is 100% serious. At no point ever in my life have I ever wished anybody, friend, foe, to jump out a window. I don't know if that's what a body looks like after that happens. But if that's even an idea of what it looks like, I never want anyone to do that.
Here's the problem.
Because that fucked me up, dude.
And this is the problem I have with the movie. Overall, I had fun with the movie. It's fun.
Yeah, we are critiquing it, but like a lot of the kills were fun, like the light tube for the deathmatch fan in me.
Even though we know it would have shattered.
Right. The a lot of impalement, a lot of
the firefight.
The firefight. I'm trying to think off the top of the ridiculously gory eye gouge where he's like sticking his thumbs in Big John's eyes.
Yeah. So that's another thing about the tone. So you have this guy jump off a building. You have Cameron get his neck. Spoilers, by the way. His neck is getting destroyed and broken. It's very serious, and you see this old lady watch her husband get killed in front of her with the light tube.
Well, she gets killed with the light tube. He gets repeatedly stabbed while Michael's trying to figure out which knife.
She's alive watching.
Yeah, and Michael's trying to figure out which knife is the right one. So every one that sucks, he just stabs in the guy's back.
That said, you have characters like Big John and Little John, and Little John has the big knife, and Big John has the little knife.
No, Big John has the little knife. Little John has the big knife.
Yeah.
No, you were saying they both had the big knife.
Either way, there's parts of it that's just very campy and it's very odd. And also, at some point, it was like, is Michael Myers John Wick? It got really weird. Like, at times where it was like, I don't know. And also, plot structure-wise, it's a mess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can you tell me the order of events of this movie?
Well, we definitely know what happened in 1978 because it said 1978.
No, I'm talking about like in 2018 in the movie, no flashbacks. Do you know what plot for plot where the movie goes?
To the hospital.
Okay, but only Tommy Doyle and Laurie Strode are in the hospital. We're forgetting about the nurse and the girl that she babysat. Then we have the Lonnie storyline. Do you know the order of any of these things?
I don't remember it, but yeah.
But I remember the order of Halloween.
Yeah,
I remember Halloween H2O.
I mean, this is a very flawed movie.
It's a mess.
But
it's fun.
I still like it. I still like what I got. And also, I'm gonna save a lot of harsh criticism because we don't have Halloween Ends yet. And for all we know, Halloween Ends could make a lot of things in Halloween Kills make sense.
I mean, Halloween Kills was not a miserable drag. Like, as we said, we have our rankings.
Right.
I'm going to spoil it. It's not my least favorite movie on the ranking. So, it's not the worst.
Also, if you want a shred of hope, when Halloween Kills is eventually released on DVD and Blu-ray, there's apparently going to be an alternate ending. Whether or not there's any alternate scenes, I'd love to see what the deleted scenes were if there are any. But also, I'm curious about this alternate ending.
Also, is Lonnie and the cops the only people that have guns?
Well, the thing
because I mean, we have an iron here in honor of the Iron Lady.
Yes, the Iron Maiden, who was played by. Give me a second.
But anyway, everyone has like a cricket bat and stuff. No one has a gun. No one has like a knife, a sword. I mean, shit. I have a machete right here. It's a little dull because it's a movie prop, but it's a heavy, sharp machete. I could fight Michael better than the person had like an ironing.
The actress's name was Belisa Lee, spelled Lea. Also, if you're on Facebook, join the group That One Lady Who Brought an Iron to Fight Michael Myers. It's a fun little group that I'm a part of. I did not start it. I'm just a fan.
So yeah.
Like I said, it is a jumbled mess. I kind of understand it. Like, I get it. It's almost like 2018 was the Laurie perspective. But now we're seeing, like, the scope of what... I mean, it was not done great, but we get the scope of how... Because she wasn't the only one affected. And I get it. I just feel like you could have kept this mob, this whole thing a little more tight-knit. But I like a lot of the ideas of this movie. I don't think they all were executed perfectly, but I still had a good time. I think the kills were one of the few things that make it worth watching.
Knife in the eye.
And I'm gonna be real. Some of the campiness I was for. Did it fit? Did it need to be there? I don't know, but I was with it, and I actually did enjoy it.
All right.
So now it's time to let you know what we thought was, in our opinion, from worst to best.
So I'm going to be the Big John.
Little John, because you're taller than me.
Okay, I'm the Little John. Oh, stop.
Don't.
Anyway, so I'm going to do a rankings. We're going to do from worst to best. We did our rankings. We both do not know our rankings.
I will let you know, as you're doing your rankings, if we match.
Okay. You ready? Well, if I say my number 12, and then if we don't match, I'll ask what your number 12 is.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so my number 12 is Halloween Resurrection.
That is not me.
Okay, Halloween Resurrection, it's just a mess. It does literally nothing right. It's boring and stupid.
All right.
So what was your number 12?
My number 12 was Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Well, good thing.
I have never been more miserable watching a movie while I was watching that movie. That movie, as bad as Halloween Resurrection is, it didn't make me angry.
Well, that's a good thing, because my number 11 is Halloween 2 by Rob Zombie. For all those reasons, like I said earlier when we were talking about the movie, every turn of a new idea, every turn he makes is the wrong one. He reaches a dead end at each one of them, or he goes off the road and just goes into like a thorn bush.
My number 11 is Rob Zombie's Halloween.
My number 10
because I don't like his movies.
My number 10 is Rob Zombie's Halloween.
All right.
What's your number 10?
Halloween Resurrection.
Okay.
It was bad, it was stupid, but at the end of the day, it was harmless, and the best part is, if you just stop at Halloween H2O, you're fine.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure we don't know each other's list, but we both kind of were like
we knew
our
what
bottom three are the Rob Zombie Halloweens and Resurrection.
Right.
So this is where it gets more interesting.
Okay.
Okay, so my number 9 is Halloween 5 because I remember nothing about it, which means I remember some things, but nothing memorable. I'll probably forget in a year. It's just there's nothing to latch onto with this one.
All right, my number 9, Halloween 6, the theatrical cut.
That's my number 8.
My reasoning for this is because, or my number 9, excuse me, my number 9. I think I said 6. I didn't mean to. You said
Halloween 6.
I know. I think I said wrong. So yeah, my number 9 is Halloween 6, the theatrical cut. I think the editing is fucking atrocious. I think a lot of the lighting is better on the producer's cut. And it's fine, but it's very like it's one of those things where it's like you do kind of find yourself wishing you weren't watching it. At least I found myself watching it, feeling that way.
Well, Scott, that's my number 8. I think it's just a mess. It's just a mess, and it's obviously the studio got involved, and the studio made it even more of a mess.
My number 8 is Halloween 5. While I don't think it's good, I don't hate it. And I don't remember much from it other than, as we mentioned, the scythe, the Nicolas Cage mask, Tina! The fucking spits and his repetitive Michael Myers fake outs. But again, it's one of those things where it's better to be forgettable than it is to be truly bad.
Alright, so my number 7 is... This one was teetering. This one is teetering and my cat is crying for something. Number 7 is Halloween Kills.
Really? You like you ranked the producer's cut of 6 over Kills. Holy shit. I thought you were going to hate my list. Oh my god.
Halloween Kills is...
I wasn't ready for this.
Halloween Kills is right in the middle. It's, like we talked about, it's... I don't know, the longer I go watching the movie and thinking about it, the more it was kind of miserable at times. Like, it just was mean a lot of times. And I feel like the mean outshines the fun. Like, I know that Michael's supposed to be brutal, but like, the guy had to jump off the roof. It's just like, Michael is evil, but then the characters are stupid. So it's like, you know, the thing is, but Jason is... God, he's not really that mean. He's just a killer.
Are you kidding me? He's like the personification of anger.
He's anger. No, what I'm saying is, he's not... he's not methodically killing people. He's just killing them, right? He's just like hacking them away. He's not torturing them. If that makes sense. And the characters are stupid, but they're fun. They actually have personalities. A lot of these are just mean. There's mean characters and they're stupid at the same time. So Halloween Kills is my number 7. Like I said, it's not the worst movie, but making this list was actually surprising me.
My number 7 is Halloween 6, the producer's cut. I think it fixes a lot.
You mean your number 7?
Sorry, I knew I was going to do this. I don't know why. My number 7 is Halloween 6, the producer's cut. It fixes a lot of problems of the theatrical cut, while unfortunately adding one other problem. But I think this was much better. I remember more from this. And, this version didn't suck so bad.
Luckily, that's number 6 is Halloween 6, the producer's cut. Like I said, Halloween Kills and the producer's cut were I've switched it multiple times throughout my lists. Like, I've been scratching it out a lot because I write in pencil.
Yeah.
But I think I like a lot of the stuff in it. It's goofy, it's stupid. But it has such memorabilia. You remember Paul Rudd. You remember Denny. I'm just going to keep saying Denny. You remember the Thorn set. You remember the bus station. You remember everything about it. Even if it was stupid as hell. And a dumb sequel. But once you're like number 6, it's going to be dumb. But I think it's fun. I think there's more memorability, and I think there's more rewatchability in 6 than there is in Halloween Kills. I think that's where it was teetering for me.
I agree. I will say I agree to disagree.
Okay.
On that.
What is your number 6?
This is one of those ones where I think you're gonna hate me. My number 6 is Halloween 2, the original.
You know what's funny, Scott? That's my number 5. I wanted to give it 6 just so I could say it's 6 times.
The reason I picked it for number 6 because that's like middle of the road because there are 12 movies. It's fine. It's not very memorable. What it does well, but I only really remember the end. That's all I really remember. I can't tell you how it starts after the stuff from the first movie. I really can't tell you. I can't tell you much from it, but I will say it's one of those ones. I don't remember much of it, but as I'm watching it, I'm like, oh yeah.
So I put at number 5 Halloween 2. It's about the same reasons too. It's just very middle of the road. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing bad about it. There's stuff that's just not that great, but there's nothing inherently bad, terrible like how the Resurrection is. But yeah, it's in the middle. So that's my number 5. What's your number 5?
Okay, so this is one that I've been debating up until recording right now.
Okay.
This was originally going to be my number 4, but I think it's going to be my number 5 now that we've talked about it. Halloween Kills.
Okay.
Is my number 5. I like it, even with its flaws. I like the movie, but when you compare it to the other movies that I haven't mentioned, I don't think it lives up to what they brought to the table. Like, I do think it brought a different perspective to Halloween, but maybe it's not a perspective Halloween needed. I'm still okay with it, but I just think it's just one of those things where not as strong as the remaining movies.
Alright, my number 4. This was a tough one. Between 3 and 4 was real tough.
Wait, 3 and 4?
Yeah, I'm doing my number 4.
Oh, I thought you meant Halloween 3.
But 3 and 4 are very, these ones are teetering for me.
Alright.
So I'm going to go with, Halloween H2O.
Okay.
Halloween H2O is... I have a soft spot for this movie. I have a soft spot for just the post-Scream slasher stuff. Like Urban Legend is a movie that people should check out. Urban Legend's pretty good.
That's like peak Wade horror fandom, would you say?
A little bit. A little bit. I think that's what got me into everything.
That was your gateway drug.
Yeah.
That was your gateway to this.
So yeah, that's... H2O is great. I think H2O is fun. I feel like there could have been a little more meat in the bone a little bit, but I think the kills could have been a little more. But like I said, this was almost number 3. But I was like, until I rewatched the movie, I was like, okay, this is not my number 3, it's my number 4, so... Halloween H2O.
All right.
What's your number 4?
My number 4 is Halloween 4.
Okay.
I really wanted... Going into this, I really thought 4 was going to be higher than H2O while I was watching H2O. And then by the end, I just was like... 4's got it. That's where 4 has to be, because as good as it is, it's not. It's better than 2 in that it's memorable. There's a lot more memorable stuff, and I do think it gives you more good stuff than H2O does. But I think H2O just did it better, and I feel like with this one, it's like. I think also the fact that the great ending of 4 had its balls chopped off kind of like takes away some of the luster for me.
See, I was looking at the movie by they're not connected.
No, I know.
But to the next movie, I mean.
But I'm just talking about just how I feel.
Okay.
It's one of those things where when you know where it goes, it's kind of like, plus, it is the victim of the movies that came after it. After Halloween, it has that level of cheese. It does have certain things that are just kind of. Plus, I'm sorry, that mask. But it's still top 4. So out of 12, so that still means something.
That's a third. That's a third of the list.
Yeah. So yeah, Halloween 4, my number 4.
My number 3 is Halloween 2018.
Really?
Yeah. It's pretty good. It's got a lot of. Great kills, great atmosphere. Laurie Strode's great in it. Not gonna lie, like we watched the movie recently, but like last time I watched it for 2018, didn't remember anything from it. I just feel it's good. It's well crafted. I don't know. It's just something about the next 2 are just. It's just close to my heart. So my number 3 is Halloween 2018. I'm going to take a wild guess. Is yours H2O?
It is H2O.
I figured that.
I think Halloween H2O was a very fitting finale. If you watch 1, 2, and then H2O, that is a good trilogy right there. They fucked it up by making Resurrection. While I get that, like, the whole crux of who Michael Myers is the whole Laurie Strode's sister thing, I never really found that all that important. I'm gonna be real, and I think this one, I liked that it had a new setting. You had actual characters, actual honest to God characters, and new characters in a sequel. This wasn't like, hey, let's take some guy who had a bit part in the first movie and let's make them a character because we gotta create a universe. Hey, let's make Tommy Doyle Brian Johnson from The Breakfast Club. And, hey, one of the Real Housewives is famous now. She was in the first movie. Let's make her a character. Fuck it. Like...
The nurse!
Everyone felt natural. I love the relationship between Josh Hartnett and Jamie Lee Curtis in it. They really felt like a loving... he really felt like a loving son who's, like, just been pushed too far. Like... It felt right. Yeah. It felt good. And then when she cuts his head off, I mean, that is so satisfying.
Yeah.
Absolutely satisfying. I think Halloween H2O, my number 3, and I think it's as I've said, is one of the most underrated of all the Halloween sequels.
All right, Scott. You said underrated gems. So my number 2 is Halloween 4.
I wouldn't call 4 underrated. I think it's appropriately rated now, and I think it's great.
This one has
a good movie.
a soft spot for me. I think this is the only Halloween that I think is the best representation of the season, of the fall season. Like the opening.
Oh, this is the one where it's like the with the sky and the.
Yes.
I do like that. I do think that's one of the best opening credits of the series.
And like I said, I did not judge these off of the movies that precede it and how they fuck up in the proceedings. That's why they're ranked lower, because they fucked it up. I'm ranking it on the movie and the stuff before it. I think that I think Jamie Lloyd is a great character, has so much promise. The sister, I feel bad for getting the name. You had that. Everything explained about why I like about Halloween 4. It's cheesy a little bit. It's not the smartest movie in the world, but it does have blonde Michael, and it does have him climbing. He was hanging on the back of the pickup truck. I don't understand that, but it's just like, it's fun. It's a fun sequel that I think... I did say that Halloween Kills has the campiness, but I think this is the closest thing to where if they have campiness, it works to its benefit, but they did not wink at the camera at all. They were just going through one of the best endings. And they screwed it up, but yeah, the ending is great, and it leaves you like, what? And it's great because it kind of mirrored the clown thing, and the knife mirrors Michael in the beginning of the Halloween movie.
Right.
So if you end on Halloween 4, I think Halloween 1, Halloween 2, Halloween 4, I think if you end it right there, perfect.
Right, and
great sandwich.
And the visual of Jamie Lloyd standing there with the knife and the
yes.
I mean, that is so creepy.
Yeah.
It is very well done.
So your number 2 is Halloween 2018.
Without question.
Not a bad choice.
I would have to say, this is and I'm not just saying this because it's my ranking. I truly believe this is the best sequel of all of them. This one, I'm gonna say something bold.
Say.
I think it's on par with the original. I know a lot of people won't say that because I think they don't want to admit it because then they'd have to admit something new is good. Is that good? Because you know how it is when stuff comes before, they're like, oh, it'll never be that good. It'll never be as good as the original. I think this is as good as the original. I think this movie takes from the original and I think projects it with a 2018 lens. I think it made Michael scary again. I think it brought tension back to the series. It brought suspense. It brought in likable characters. I mean, you like not Jamie. You like Laurie, like this new version of Laurie. You like her family. You like her daughter, her granddaughter. You like her son-in-law. You know what I mean? You like these people up until he starts kissing the girl. You like her boyfriend. You like the guy who secretly is in love with her. You know? You like these characters so that when they die, it fucking means something. Like when you see the one dude get impaled on the gate. Or when you see her dad get killed. Or when you see these characters. I mean, yeah, there's deaths with characters we don't care about. And yes, there's like the stupid exposition about the fucking sandwich and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Or like the deal with like the kid and the dad. But like it felt
the dancing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like for the most part, Michael and Laurie and everything else that what really mattered felt ripped right from 1978, put a 2018 filter on it, and I think, and like I said, I think the idea of reversing the roles and making Michael the victim was the way to go. And I really, even though I did enjoy Halloween Kills, if you'd have left it there, perfect. Like I felt with Resurrection. Or not Resurrection, when I felt with H2O. Perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect.
Also, I forgot to mention that one of my favorite shots of Halloween 2018 is when the podcaster's holding up the mask.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
By the way, how did they get the mask?
I don't know. eBay?
That is a good question. Like, they mentioned it was evidence, but, like, what cop would give it to them?
Like, I don't know, but, like, all I have to say is, with no surprise.
Right. I mean...
Our number 1 is Halloween, which I think is everyone's... I guess Friday the 13th would probably be a tougher list, but Halloween, the original Halloween is perfect, as we mentioned at the beginning of the video. It's funny that this whole odyssey of a video started with Halloween and it ends with Halloween because Halloween is the one. I mean, we both agree on Halloween 1. I mean, I'm just going to throw my list there.
I mean, what more can be said that hasn't already been said? I mean, the pacing, the suspense, the kills, while not violent and bloody, they're still very good. They leave the violence and gore up to your imagination. In some movies, it comes off as laziness. In this one, it feels calculated. It feels intentional.
Yeah.
It feels like that was the point, and it works. You know?
So, yeah, we did it. And then you realize we might have to do this again.
No,
Halloween Ends.
No, I'm just gonna watch Halloween Ends, and then we'll review that, and then we'll redo our list with where we put Halloween Ends. Here's a fun little extra, because we briefly talked about at the beginning. Let's say we put Halloween 3 on this list. Where would you rank it?
I would do Halloween, Halloween 4, Halloween 2018, Halloween H2O, Halloween 3.
I would put it between.
So my number 5 would be Halloween 3.
I would put it after Halloween Kills and before Halloween 4.
So you're number 6.
It would be my number 6, yes.
Yeah, so about in the middle. That's kind of what I figured. So yeah, that's it. We did it.
We did it.
So it's almost Halloween night. It's almost Samhain.
Yeah, not Sam Hain, and it's not on and it's not, Sam Hain is not Halloween. It's the day after Halloween.
I think there's only one thing we should do.
Give me my weapon. We fight.
Han. You know why?
Because ducks fly together.
No. This evil dies tonight.
Evil dies tonight. Evil dies tonight. Evil dies tonight. Evil dies tonight. Evil dies tonight. Evil dies tonight. Evil dies tonight. Evil dies tonight.